In the tapestry of World War II history, the story of Hazel Ying Lee stands out not only as a testament to perseverance and courage, but also as a reflection of the trials faced by Chinese Americans in the early 20th century. A vibrant and determined woman, Lee became the first Chinese American to serve as a Women Airforce Service pilot, leaving an indelible mark on the annals of aviation and the broader struggle for gender and racial equality. Roots in a challenging era. Hazel Ying Lee was born on August 24, 1912, in Portland, Oregon, to Chinese immigrant parents who had made their way to the United States in search of opportunity. This was no easy feat. For decades, Chinese immigrants in the United States were subjected to systemic discrimination, particularly through legislation like the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, which curtailed immigration and naturalization. Though the early 1900s saw the easing of some restrictions, the shadow of anti-Chinese sentiment lingered. Despite these adversities, the Lee family carved out a life for themselves. Hazel, the youngest of 8 children, was known for her adventurous spirit and charismatic personality. Described as athletic and humorous, she often defied traditional expectations. Hazel learned to drive at a time when few women, let alone Chinese American women, did so. After completing high school, she worked as an elevator operator, a common job for women of her time. However, for Hazel, this position was merely a stepping stone to her dream of flying. Taking to the skies, Hazel's love affair with aviation began in the 1930s, during an era when flying was still a novel and thrilling endeavor. A chance visit to an airfield with friends introduced her to the allure of flight. The experience left a lasting impression, and Hazel soon began saving for flying lessons with the support of the Portland Chinese Benevolent Society. She enrolled in a flight training program and in October 1932 earned her pilot's license. In doing so, she became one of the first Chinese American women to achieve this milestone, a remarkable feat considering the financial and societal barriers of the time. Answering the call of duty in 1931, Japanese forces invaded Manchuria, marking the start of a prolonged and devastating conflict that would engulf China and much of the world. The invasion galvanized many Chinese Americans to contribute to the defense of their Wara ancestral homeland. Hazel, motivated by both a sense of duty and her love for flying, joined a group of volunteers training in Portland. It was during this time that she met Clifford Yin Lee, a fellow aviator who would later become her husband. Hazel traveled to China, where she sought to put her aviation skills to use. However, societal norms and military policies relegated her to flying commercial aircraft and eventually a desk job. Her determination was undiminished, even as Japanese bombing campaigns forced her and her family to flee Guangzhou for Hong Kong, where they became war refugees. By 1938, Hazel returned to the United States, finding work in New York with an organization supplying arms to China. Becoming a WASP as the United States entered World War II, opportunities for women in aviation expanded through the formation of the WASP program in 1942. For Hazel, this was the chance she had been waiting for. She applied and was accepted into Class 43W4, becoming one of 2 Chinese American women in the program. At 30 years old, she was older than many of her peers, but quickly earned their respect with her humor, leadership, and generosity. Hazel's vibrant personality shone through in everything she did, from teaching her classmates about Chinese culture to writing their names in Chinese characters on aircraft tails. Training at Avenger Field in Sweetwater, Texas, was rigorous. The WASP were tasked with ferrying aircraft, towing targets for gunnery practice, and performing other essential duties to free up male pilots for combat roles. The challenges were compounded for Hazel and other Chinese American WASP, who often faced suspicion due to their appearance. On one occasion, Hazel was forced to land in a farmer's field during a training flight. Mistaking her for a Japanese pilot, the farmer confronted her with a pitchfork. Hazel's quick wit and determination helped her defuse the situation, turning a potentially dangerous encounter into a story she later recounted. With humor, flying high and facing adversity after completing her training, Hazel was assigned to the Air Transport Command's 3rd Ferrying Squadron at Romulus Army Air Base in Michigan. She transported a variety of aircraft, including the formidable P-63 King Cobra. Her skill and willingness to tackle challenging assignments led to her selection for pursuit school in September 1944, where she trained to fly fighter planes. This was a rare honor, as fewer than 10% of WASP received such training. By this time, however, the WASP program was nearing its end. Despite their contributions, the women pilots faced significant obstacles. They were classified as civilians, receiving no military benefits or recognition, and their sacrifices were often overlooked. In November 1944, it was announced that the program would be disbanded by year's end. For Hazel, the closure of the WASP marked a bittersweet moment. She had endured grueling schedules, long hours, and the constant pressure of proving herself in a male-dominated field. Yet her love for flying remained undiminished. As she prepared for her next mission, she also faced personal uncertainty. Communication with her husband, now serving in China, had ceased for months. Tragic end to a remarkable journey. In late November 1944, Hazel received orders to deliver a P-63 King Cobra from the Bell Aircraft factory in Niagara Falls, New York, to Great Falls, Montana. The flight was part of the Lend-Lease program, with aircraft destined for the Soviet Union. Weather delays extended the journey, but on November 23rd, Hazel made her approach to Great Falls. Unbeknownst to her, another pilot, Jeff Russell, was also attempting to land without a working radio. The control tower, overwhelmed by the number of incoming aircraft, failed to coordinate properly. As Hazel approached the runway, she was ordered to pull up. Russell, unable to hear the instruction, continued his descent. The two aircraft collided, crashing in flames. Hazel was badly burned and succumbed to her injuries 2 days later. On November 25, 1944, she was 32 years old, the 38th and final WASP to die in service. Legacy and recognition. The tragedy compounded for the Lee family when, just days after learning of Hazel's death, they received news that her brother Victor had been killed in action in France. The family sought to bury both siblings in Portland's Riverview Cemetery, but faced resistance. Cemetery officials initially refused to allow Hazel and Victor to be interred in the white section. Undeterred, the Lee family fought for their right to honor their children's sacrifices. They prevailed, and Hazel and Victor were laid to rest side by side. Hazel Ying Lee's story is one of resilience and determination. As a trailblazer in aviation and a pioneer for Chinese American women, she broke barriers at a time when prejudice and discrimination were the norm. Though her life was tragically cut short, contributions paved the way for future generations of women and minorities in aviation. Today, the Women Airforce Service Pilots are recognized as military veterans, their service celebrated as a vital chapter in American history. Hazel Ying Lee's name shines brightly among them, a reminder of the courage and determination required to soar above adversity.